All right.
Hey, welcome to our podcast today. Ask Aaron and Ask EJ. This is Coach Eric Johnson, the brand.
This is Coach Aaron Thigpen, the source. EJ, the draft is over. We've had a couple of athletes go through the draft. You were out there, um, combine, all that sort of stuff. Why don't you give the people your thoughts and insights on the whole process, how you thought it went, and any shed some light on how baseball is doing things.
Yeah, we were, fortunate enough. We had Tyler Spangler, first round draft pick by the Phillies. We had Paulie Contreras, fourth round with the New York Yankees. And of course, Jacob Johnson, 17th round with the Cardinals. So three athletes going through some journeys. And it's not, the average journey. So I'll explain a little bit about the combine, what I saw, talk a little bit about, the draft process, and talk about what I saw out there and talking to scouts, talking to front office people, watching the combine closely, just watching all the interaction. It's quite unique now. So much different than when I got drafted back in 1986, 1987, with the Yankees respectively and the Giants. But there's so much more eyes on the athletes now, Aaron. I think that's the biggest takeaway that I have is how many eyes via social media, whether it was Twitter, different Instagram pages talking about players, YouTube, etc. The scouts, the front office people of Major League Baseball teams have so many more resources now and so many more eyes on the players analytically, as well as a subjective look at the players in the evaluation process. As you know, scouts judge you on a 20 to 80 scale, 50 being average. Okay, so when they're marking down grades on players, they go, he has a 50 hitter, he's a 55 power, he's throwing, he's this. Okay, same way is graded for every position, where it's a catcher, pitcher, infielder, outfielder. There it is. You're great. You have your grades. There are so many more analytical things, Aaron. You're talking about exit velocity, speed. Everybody hears that. EV. What's your EV? Your outfield throwing speed. Your 30 time. We didn't see any players run a 60, Aaron, which I thought was unique because they got away from that now.
That's good.
Yeah, it's now a 30. Running a 30 from home to first,
Yeah.
which is much better at, providing a better scouting tool to understand somebody's speed. And then you have this subjective look, like, oh, he looks like a player. How does he carry himself when things go kind of bad? Because when things are good, Aaron, as you and I know, it's easy. You're happy, you're smiling, all that stuff. You look like you're having the greatest time in the world. And then when something goes bad, the scouts, the front office people, all the evaluators are saying, how does that player handle that adversity? So, with all these players that got drafted, and it's only 20 rounds in the draft now, Aaron. There's 20 rounds, that's it. From the whole year, all these evaluators are looking how do these players handle success? How do they handle failure? How do they rise to pressure situations and how do they handle it? How do they act when they go to practice? How do they carry their bag? How do they walk on how do they walk on the field? Um, how they carry themselves, a lot of things. There's a lot of digging going on by all these people. They're going to give these guys an enormous bonus if you picked high in the draft. For instance, Rock Chalowski of the UCLA Bruins, the first pick in the draft by the Chicago White Sox, signed for $10.3 million. And, they had him out in Chicago, 2 months ago, a month ago, that is, and took him around. And let him see the whole organization, the city, to see if there was a fit there. And they liked him, everything about him, and they picked him. Okay, so I mean, it's more than just baseball, Aaron. I guess that's my point is that not only do you have to be a very skilled athlete to play this game, how you carry yourself on and off the field is just as important as your baseball skills. They need to match because if they don't match, then you're not representing their brand. There are 30 brands of Major League Baseball. And if you don't represent that team correctly, I don't think they want to pick you and put you in that position. So that's kind of like my first message on our podcast today, Aaron. And I have plenty more, but you got any thoughts what you heard so far or what you've seen? You've had so many baseball players play in the league, man. So, you know, what are your thoughts right now? You got any thoughts?
Well, you said something that kind of sparked a thought in me, and you talked about how they took Rock out, and he kind of went and saw if he was a match for the city, and makes me wonder because baseball or sports in general are now really highly entertainment. Almost, I think they're more entertainment than they are sport in a lot of cases. And how that might have changed the formula for picking at least the top tier athletes. So obviously if you're spending 10 million on a kid, you're hoping he's a future star. So yeah, you got to be. It seems like you'd have to be more of a complete package because now you're talking about, hey, is this guy marketable? Can he sell jerseys? Can he sell, I don't
Mhm.
know, merchandise for us again? All of those sorts of things. And and so the personality of the athlete and that past that they have become even more important. So like you said, now they're going back and digging through, social media posts and all the rest of that to find
Right,
out, hey, has this guy done something or said something in the past that
right,
might come back and bite us in the ass, or at least tarnishes his potential value. Doesn't mean he's not a good ball player,
right,
but now if his marketability, to use your scale, from a 20 to 80 or whatever it is a 40, is it worth taking him? you
right,
know so that's something that's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. I mean, everyone has their best face on, but you
right,
can't always tell. But
right.
but from some standpoint, if a guy is an asshole, the organization does take a hit from that.
They sure do. They sure do. You know, interesting you mentioned that because at the combine, people out there is really a 3 day to 4 day showcase of an athlete. And they invite high school players that they want to see, and then they invite college players they want to see. And the whole process not open to the public. It's like the NFL combine and the basketball combine, not open to the public. They take the players through a battery of tests with physicals, check out the reports, take measurements, do all that stuff. They take them through a skill set of baseball evaluation, outfield throwing, and they get their exit velocity. They do infield play from shortstop or the position that you play. It's mostly from third base and shortstop and first base. So they get, how you feel, how you move, how you throw, your velocity across the field. They do that. They run a 30 time, and also they do live batting practice. And every swing, Aaron, is evaluated on the screen, and it was in Arizona, where the Arizona Diamondbacks play their season at, and it's on the board on the jumbotron. It tells you how fast the ball came off the bat, the distance of the ball, launch angle, everything. They have a TrackMan that tells everything. So you're exposed there, and so they invite so many players. Then they have a collegiate game sometimes, or they have a high school game, depending on how many players want to play in a game. Man, it doesn't happen all the time. And by the way, the catchers are doing their blocking and their pop times too. The pitchers are throwing a bullpen and they got spin rates on them, vertical drop. They have everything. It's all there. So basically, those 3 days, that's the baseball side of it, the physical side where they do all the um, medical stuff. Plus, they do interviews. And the interviews, it's a show. I would say this on the Major League Baseball Network, it is a show, a production. You've got all these guys, whether it was Harold Reynolds, Dan O'Dowd, all the experts talking about the players, where they think they're going to land in a draft. And that's a good 10 days before the draft. And they have that. And that's so interesting that, here they are, players either showcasing their skills to get a higher position in the draft, or maybe all of the scouts, the general managers, scouting directors, assistant general managers, when they go to this event, they are really watching to see, does this guy go up or go down in the draft? The players are exposed. One of the most interesting things I will say about the combine, the interviews, Aaron, the interviews with the players, and it happens so quick. It's over and the guys got interviews for 2 days. Tyler Spangler interviews for 2 days, right? And the stuff that they say to you, they have 14 guys sometimes. One team had 14 guys interviewing Tyler and threw something out at him. Hey, what would you do in this situation? So you're out there. There's nobody in there but you. There's no parents, there's no agents. It's just you. And it's a production. And Major League Baseball, like I said, is doing it, and their experts are saying everything about you as you're doing your skill, and it's on TV. They're telling you he looks like this. I saw him here. They're showing you clips of what they have. It's amazing. So the combine has grown in popularity, and it's a big deal now. People actually watch it. The other thing I noticed about, these the draft is these organizations will or agents will set up one-on-one showcases for the player. For instance, our players, obviously, Tyler had a workout at De La Salle High School in Concord. 18 major league teams came. You had the whole Giants brass. You had everybody there that was interested. So 18 out of 30 teams came and took him through batting practice. And I took him through his defensive skill work myself and showed the scouts or the people there watching him that he could play shortstop and move and he looked good and all that stuff. And I think that's important, and everybody was there, which was really nice. That helped him. I felt that helped him after not having played his senior year to still be a first round draft pick. That's crazy to me because that doesn't happen. But I think those are important things. The combine helped him. The workout definitely helped him. I think that was very important in what he was trying to accomplish in his goals. So, that was kind of a big thing, Aaron. That whole production, I tell you, way more interesting. And I say this too, it's not what you imagine or see on TV. It's not what you assume. And I tell a lot of fans out there, it's not what you hear in the stands when you talk amongst yourselves. It's not that. In order to understand that, um, you got to be part of it and got to be about it and be in it. I'm in it. I understand it. I've seen a lot of it. It's not what you see on a daily basis. It's a whole production, and there takes a special athlete to compete at that level. And we were lucky enough to have three of them. So, we'll see what happens in the future, right?
Hmm.
Always. So, interesting take on that, Aaron.
Hmm. Cool. Yeah, you've got three different athletes. How did their paths differ to getting there?
I'm going to tell you something about three guys. These three guys. They have a very unique characteristic, and it's something you and I have always said. They work hard and they get after it, and they all been kicked. They all been kicked somehow, on thrown on the ground, knocked out, and they had to get back up. That's the trait, is that they get back up and work hard and continue to work hard. And that's the characteristic it takes to be that good. You've got to work hard. And it's not glamorous. It's not. It's a lot of hours of training by yourself. There are a lot of hours of working and no one's around. I call it working in the dark. I call it checking boxes, because it's not what you see on any type of social media, Aaron. It's what you do and what I do when we train guys at game speed, or we're on the field training them. It's just work, work, and work harder, but more importantly, work smarter and make adjustments and keep believing in what you do. That's what makes those three guys draftable commodities because of that. Their journeys are different. I'm gonna talk about Jacob Johnson first. You got a guy that went to high school at a local high school in the Bay Area, and he has a great freshman year, a great sophomore year, junior year goes to varsity, plays 60, 70% of the time. Second in the league in home runs. He's got some, he can really hit, you know. He's good third baseman, played first. Had some other guys ahead of him, by the way, who are not playing now. Just want to point that out. And then his senior year, he leads the E-ball in home runs and doesn't play all the time. Okay. Yeah, you play here. Yeah, this other guy's better than you. He's better than you. He can. So that's JJ. JJ goes and gets a Division II school scholarship. He's been in our program. I help him with this stuff. He goes to the College of the Mines. Goes to College of Mines. He redshirts. He says, "I'm going to come home. It's just these. It's not what I thought it was going to be." I said, Jacob, known as JJ, you're going to have to go to a junior college. Okay, you can't transfer out of there. There's nobody. The portal's a different animal. You need to go play. He goes to Quest to college, goes down there, tears it up. Okay. This time last year, Aaron, and you and I know this because we trained Jacob together. He doesn't know where he's going to school. It's July. It is the end of July. And you and I are going, hey, where's Jacob going to go? JJ he may have to go to another year junior college. We don't want him to do that. We got to get him to a school. I call every school on the West Coast. Finally, I got him into a workout with Eric Valenzuela over at St. Mary's College, and he took him on the spot. Luckily, JJ took care of his academics because he had an academic scholarship to St. Mary's, and he got a lot of money, which helped significantly. And gave him a roster spot and said, "You're going to compete for a job. You've had a great track record. We're not promising anything, but you're going to compete for a job." So he goes out and wins the third base job at St. Mary's, and the rest tells itself. Hits 340, 15 home runs, 55 RBIs, kills UCLA in the regionals. He's just tearing up the WCCs, going to Cape Cod, all this stuff. And it gets to workouts. He's got to go to 3 or 4 workouts for major league teams. He goes and does them, and he's not playing. He's just waiting for the draft. He's getting in shape and stuff like that. And lo and behold, he gets drafted like we thought he was. We thought he was going to go higher, but still, he got everything he needed to get to become a St. Louis Cardinal, and he's there right now in Jupiter, signing his contract today, and he's ready to go. That's Jacob Johnson's story, which he was kicked out. Look, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't. It didn't start out perfect. You and I trained him. You know him. And you and I are going, wow. We're just, every month, you and I are chronicling Jacob Johnson's story.
I
Look at
smile
this
every time I
story.
think about him. I'm like, all right,
Because
JJ.
they don't know people don't know his journey. It wasn't easy, right? I mean,
Nope. Yeah.
I mean, you
You
saw him
wouldn't
when
have
he
bet
first
money
came to
on
you.
that. You would, I mean, it just it's just so funny. It's like, how did this guy just end up here? But I mean, he's always been a
Exactly.
great kid. Just it's good. It's like the stars weren't always aligned. You know,
Right.
you couldn't
Right.
you couldn't always see it. But no, good.
No. It's a great story. So
Yeah,
his story is like he's a street fighter, man.
yeah.
He just gets knocked down on the ground. He's like Rocky. I call him Rocky. He gets hit on the ground. Hit me some more. Come on, hit me some more. Hit me one more time. I hit you. Come on. What you got? What you got? That's Jacob. Then you got Paulie Contreras, who from Salida, out in the East land, out in the
Yeah.
farmland, right?
Hmm.
And Paulie came to us for 4 years and played with us at EJ Sports on our Warrior program. And here's a skinny kid, skinny, amazing tool set, could throw, could run, could hit, had surprising pop. Skinny kid, right? And he had this tool set that I go, it's freaky tool set. It's a pro tool set. Saw it right away. And he just kept on getting better, kept on getting. He was a shortstop with us, and I started putting him in center field. I go, Paulie, you used to have this natural ability to go get the baseball. You're fast, you can get to the ball, and you make these amazing catches. Amazing shortstop too. But I saw, he was getting tall. He started to grow, develop, get taller, stronger. And I said, Paulie, I'm telling you, man, you could play in college better than that. You can go beyond that. So when Cal State Fullerton called me and asked me, because he went to JC. So Paulie went from high school to JC at Modesto and went there 2 years and put up first year he went somewhere else, then he went to Modesto, put up crazy numbers. And he had a couple offers, but nothing really big. So their head coach, Coach Dietrich, who played in the big leagues, called me and says, "Hey, EJ, I want to know a little bit about Paulie." I said, "Paulie Contreras is going to be an all league for you, all league guy, and probably an all district guy. This guy can really play, and you really need to take him." And he did. He took him and he tore it up. He tore it up. And I kept on following Paulie, going, God, man, Paulie's got 10 home runs, got 12, 13, 14, and he's still in 20 bases, like a 2020 guy. And his story was the same way. It's like he went to JC. Like, hey, we got two guys. One went to college and then JC. The other guy just went to JC and he got where he needed to be. So happy for Paulie. Excited. Fourth round the Yankees. I mean, wow, got drafted on the first day. Was really happy for him and his family. And then our third guy, obviously, you and I know a lot about Tyler. He's right down the street from us. Our complex, he's in the same city as our complex in Concord. And one thing about, he's with me since he's been 11, 11 years old. And JJ was with me since he's been 10. So you work with these guys for all these years, and they didn't come to me as a superstar. They just had to work and work. And you train him forever. And you saw a gangly, kind of coordinated but kind of goofy looking, gangly looking guy, and you turn him into a 6'5" runner. Like he couldn't run. You made him a 6'5" runner. That improved his draft stock significantly. It allowed him to stay at shortstop because of that, because of the agility and his strength and his ability to be a coordinated athlete. You did that for him because he wasn't that coordinated. He was, good. He was average skill set, right? I mean, you would say
Yeah.
that average skill set, and you just made that average skill set above average. And that's what, see, people, you have to understand, average to above average is significantly huge in this game. And you did that with his running and agility. He was able to go his freshman year to De La Salle and play shortstop. Who does starting shortstop as a freshman on varsity? I mean, not many people, that do that. And so he was able to grow, develop, and over the years through our interaction, your and mine interaction with him collectively. And that's one thing I want to point out. It's been a collective, effort with you and I training these guys. It's always kind of funny when you and I train a guy, he kind of gets where he needs to be. It's consistent. And it's just being in the gym with you consistently, being with me consistently, so we can actually work together to mold an athlete and find out what's their weakness. You tell me, hey, what do you see, EJ? And I tell you, hey, this is what I see. Hey, can we fix this, Aaron? Can you work with him on this? And that's how you build an athlete, making of an athlete. That's what we do. And for a particular sport, this sport happened to be baseball. And that was his journey. And, his journey was a little bit different. Hey, look, All American, All NorCal Player of the Year, USA Baseball Final Trials, 15, 18, PG All American, Prep Baseball All American. He had that, all of that. And then what happened? Got hurt his senior year. Now he's like, okay, got hurt, can't play. He doesn't play. He is like, bam, at the bottom of the totem pole. And you know what? He had to get his back injury together and get stronger and try to do that. He did it. He got strong enough to go to the combine to do the workout. Lo and behold, the Philadelphia Phillies pick him in the first round after Dan O'Dowd was on TV on Major League Network, says, "Hey, I don't know what you guys see, but this kid, he's like a mix between Corey Seager and Cal Ripken. How could you not pick the kid? That was his. If that was an endorsement from a former general manager, there's your endorsement. And then we're working behind the scenes to make sure I'm talking to scouts. Hey, he's ready to go. He's ready to go. And when you get athletes at this level, all three of them, you have to have somebody helping them talk to the right people. That was us, you and I, talking to the people, walking through your I saw 8 scouts walk through your facility and say, "What is oh my goodness, this is a really training facility. This is where he trains athletes." So when those scouts saw that, they go, "Oh, this is real." And people don't get that. Is that you got major league scouts, scouting directors, general managers walking through game speed going, "Oh, this is where these guys train. Oh, this is different. It's not all the flashy lights and everything like that. It's a real place." And so when they saw that, that endorsed the athlete for them. And people don't realize that endorsed it because they saw what they do there. So kudos to you, my man. People need to know that. That's true. That's a true story.
Mm.
There's a
Appreciate
journey,
that.
man. Yeah, yeah, that's a true story. So that's what it's all about, man.
Yeah.
That's what this whole draft, the league, the people call it league. We used to call it the show back in the day. The
Yeah.
league, MLB, the league, the draft, the combine, on and off the field. I mean, it's like you're under a microscope and they're checking you out, and it's different than anybody could imagine.
Mhm.
So that's what I got. What you think? What do you think, Aaron? There's a lot to take away there, man.
I don't really have anything to add. It's, good stuff. Like I said, I love the different stories for each athlete. And just, you've got some guys who you would have never guessed that, would have
Right.
made it, but they stayed true to themselves and kept going. You've had even, Blue Chipper who, just at the 11th hour had something that could have been career ending for him, turn it around. And, the thing that, the common thread in all of those is the perseverance. And yeah, I'm sure some of that comes from, who they are and maybe their family background, but you're the consistent thread in all of that. And the one thing that you didn't mention is the relationship that you've established with these guys. And, I think the things and the work ethic and, some of the ethos that you demonstrate, rubs off on them. When you've had a kid since they were 10, 11 years old, it can't help but. And I think that sort of interaction relationship is what shored them up,
Yeah.
to get through this sort of thing. And it's funny because you got so many people or so many athletes who have the fix me mentality who come through your doors and you get them better and then you don't see them anymore. And I'm like, EJ, what happened to this guy? What happened to that guy? And I'm
Right.
just like, yeah. And the one thing that we always pine over is like when we get an athlete and we know because we've done this enough, we know where we can take an athlete is that they always pull the ripcord too soon, either
Yeah.
because they have a setback and they can't work through it, so they want to find something different, or they get to a point where they think they've outgrown what they were doing or what they're doing and want to try and find something better. But I can attest to it, and you can attest to it. Every athlete who spent probably anywhere from 6 to 8 years with us has always gotten to where they were supposed to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay?
No question.
That's just one common thread. But the problem is most people just don't have the patience
Yeah.
to commit that long and see it through and understand, that process of one step forward, two steps back, two steps forward, one step back. And that's just how sports are. It's not always going to be an upward trajectory. And so I think, you should be applauded because there's something that you've also baked into these guys that has nothing to do with, you teaching them their swing and how to field the ball. And
Yeah.
hopefully they'll carry that through, the rest of their careers, you know, and not what I say, go big league on you.
I
But
appreciate that. Thank you.
think
Thank
that
you.
they're because this is still not for these guys the final destination.
Right.
You've still got another, how many let me ask you this. How many years now does it take to make a big leaguer? You see?
It's like,
Yeah.
everybody's trajectory, like you said, trajectory, the key word to Aaron, trajectory. It's 2 to 4 years,
Yeah.
for them. It may take somebody longer because it's just they got a backlog in the organization. They need to get traded. They need to be in the right
Hmm.
position. It's the perseverance and getting better and making adjustments is their next challenge.
Yeah.
Is their next challenge. I really believe that is, and their mindset. And I give kudos to Suzette for helping those guys with their mindset. Suzette and
Yes.
what we do, I give her because she spent a lot of time with JJ and Spangler and Paulie. She's talked to them and that nobody knows about. And that's part of it is one thing is mindset. You she helped them stay with their mindset. And to this day, she's still talking to guys. So you're right. I mean, you and I know what's really happening. So I appreciate that those positive comments from you. Thank you.
Other than that, we're good to go,
Hey,
man. That's another
well,
one. We'll try and get some more of these going again. I know you guys, we haven't been doing them as frequently, but life's been lifing.
yes, it has. Life's been lifing. Exactly. Well, thanks for joining us today. Ask Aaron and ask EJ. I'm Coach Eric Johnson, the brand.
And I'm Coach Aaron Thigpen, the source. We'll see you.